Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into the highly anticipated debut of Season 6. We're going on a breathtaking journey through China's southeast heartland, and we're tracking a massive, dramatic shift. We're going to travel from the elegant, perfectly manicured waters of Jiangnan all the way down to the vast, wild, and dynamic Fujian seas. This isn't just a trip, you know. It's a profound look at how a landscape dictates absolutely everything about the people who live within it.
Think about it for a second. What actually happens when ancient, quiet, inland rivers finally collide with the vast sea? Well, this explainer is going to show us exactly how physical geography dramatically shapes human civilization, faith, and trade. We'll see how shifting from quiet, mist-covered rivers to the roaring ocean completely transforms the way people build their homes, practice their spirituality, and connect with the rest of the globe.
So here's our itinerary for today's journey. We'll start in the southeast heartland, float down the Jiangnan rivers, climb the sacred mountains, head down to the maritime south, and finally end up right where the mountains meet the sea.
Now, if we look at the structure of this 40-day journey, it's pretty incredible. Notice that column on the right, identity. Every single region brings a completely unique cultural fingerprint to the table. We start out surrounded by water, gardens, and literature in Jiangnan. Then, boom, we pivot completely to faith and ocean islands. From there, we head inland, think tea, porcelain, and Taoism, before returning to the coast for global trade and finally anchoring our trip in community and heritage. It is a perfectly crafted narrative arc, dictated entirely by the shifting earth beneath our feet.
All right, let's jump into Section 1, the Southeast Heartland. This really serves as the living canvas for all of Season 6.
Moving right along to Section 2, we have Jiangnan, Rivers and Elegance. This is all about life built entirely around waterways.
As we move through the first 3 episodes, we get to see this water-based lifestyle really evolve. We kick things off in Hangzhou, a place where Chinese landscape culture literally reached its highest expression. I mean, the West Lake, the Longjing tea fields, the traditional gardens, they weren't just built, they were designed as one massive, living, breathing painting. Then, the timeline flows into a slightly slower chapter in Shaoxing. And actually, this isn't some dusty museum. It's a living, breathing water town. You've got ancient canals, stone bridges, and that famous yellow rice wine tradition just flowing through everyday neighborhoods. Finally, the journey brings us to Ningbo. And this right here is the crucial transition. Through Ningbo's harbor and its old bund, the inland literary culture of Jiangnan officially turns its gaze outward, toward the maritime world.
That brings us to Section 3, Sacred Mountains and Faith, where the land itself becomes spiritual.
This part of the trip marks a massive, dramatic transition, where the land essentially shatters into the sea. Take Mount Putuo, for example. It's one of China's 4 sacred Buddhist mountains, dedicated to Guanyin. But what's really wild is that, unlike inland sacred mountains, here, the Buddhist faith literally follows the ocean waves. The scenery completely shifts on us. We trade those manicured inland gardens for thick mist rolling off the ocean. We're talking massive temples tucked away in lush island forests, monks walking right beside crashing waves, and fishing boats anchored beneath these towering sea cliffs. The land has literally transformed into a spiritual island.
So from the sea, the journey pushes deep into Fujian's dramatic mountain interior. And this step-by-step progression really shows the brilliant logic of how civilization utilized this incredibly rugged terrain. Step 1. In the Wuyi Mountains, folks navigated the Nine Bend River on bamboo rafts and turned these steep, crazy rock formations into China's tea kingdom, cultivating the famous Dahongpao tea. Then, Step 2, over in Zhejiang, they literally took the earth itself, fired it in ancient kilns at over 1,300 degrees Celsius, and built this massive porcelain industry that put China on the global map. Finally, Step 3 takes us up Mount Sanqing. High up there, surrounded by granite peaks and clouds, the landscape became a sanctuary for ancient Taoist traditions. It's just amazing. The earth itself became art, industry, and salvation.
And you know, nestled right in the middle of these massive mountain achievements is Wuyuan. This is such a pristine, quiet chapter of the journey. It's basically a perfect example of rural China surviving in absolute harmony with its mountainous surroundings. Places like Huangling show us these stunning ancient villages and terraced fields, all perfectly preserved and kind of hidden away in the quiet mountain mist.
All right, shifting gears to Section 4, Fujian, the Maritime South. This is where China meets the world.
Here, the journey returns emphatically to the sea, specifically in Xiamen and Quanzhou. We're making a huge transition from those quiet, inland traditions we just saw to an outwardly focused, bustling, global marine civilization. In Xiamen, we get to explore this gorgeous island city
where China meets the sea. We're walking through the coastal neighborhoods of Gulangyu, soaking up the rich Minwang culture and, of course, the incredible seafood traditions. And then, a bit further down the coast, we hit Quanzhou. This place is defined by the massive Kaiyuan Temple and this wonderfully multicultural heritage of its ancient port. It's a true testament to centuries and centuries of global maritime trade.
Now, if you've been following along with the show, think back to Season 4, where we tracked the ancient Silk Road across vast inland deserts. Well, here in Quanzhou, we're looking at its exact ocean-bound equivalent, the maritime Silk Road, stretching across global oceans. It's the exact same outward-facing, world-connecting ambition we saw before, but this time it's driven entirely by the maritime geography of the southeast coast.
And that brings us to our final stop, Section 5, where mountains meet sea, the grand finale.
So now, we're bringing this entire physical journey together to see how the harsh convergence of steep mountains and endless ocean permanently shaped human heritage. The absolute best example of this adaptation is the Fujian Tulo. Out in the rugged, totally unforgiving mountains of Fujian, architecture had to adapt drastically. I mean, you couldn't just build those sprawling, elegant water towns out here. Instead, Hakka traditions gave rise to these massive, fortress-like, round structures, like Tiandulokan and Yuchang. The environment demanded such extreme resilience that an entire village community basically became a single fortified home, with multiple generations living together beneath one giant circular roof. It's absolutely incredible.
And everything finally culminates in Fuzhou, along the flowing Min River, right amidst the historic 3 lanes and 7 alleys. We're offered a beautiful, quiet reflection on traditional Fujian culture. This single city somehow manages to bring together absolutely every thread we've explored today. We've got the elegant Jiangnan water, the sacred mountain peaks, the winding tea roads, the fiery porcelain kilns, and the vast maritime civilization, all converging right here. It is the ultimate merging point.
I actually want to read you the exact narration from the finale's source material because it hits the nail on the head regarding why this geographical focus is so absolutely essential to understanding the region. It goes, "For 40 days we followed a different China, not the China of great capitals and modern skylines, but the China shaped by mountains, rivers, villages, temples, and the sea." That is just a powerful reminder that the most enduring stories of civilization are written by the landscapes they inhabit.
So as we wrap up, I want to leave you with a question to ponder. How does the geography of your own region dictate your community's culture and history? Seriously, take a look out your window. Is it a river, a mountain, a desert, or maybe an ocean that shaped the way your town was built? Try applying this geographical lens to your own world, and you might just see your home in a completely new light. Thanks so much for hanging out with us on The Explainer today, and we'll see you next time.